What's going on, guys? Harrison and I already filmed our video for today, but we just wanted to get you guys this news. The Mavs have officially cut AJ Lawson, so he's no longer on the roster. Lawson was obviously on a non-guaranteed deal coming into this preseason, and he was fighting an uphill battle with the likes of Markieff Morris for that final roster spot. So that roster spot will be Morris's. Lawson has been cut. Now, I do believe Lawson could be eligible to come back on a two-way contract, but the Mavs cut ties with AJ Lawson. So stay tuned. Whenever there's Mavs news, we'll keep you guys informed. So hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's get into today's video.
The Mavericks preseason opener is in the books. They fell 121 to 116 to Memphis last night. Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein with some of our top takeaways from last night's action, Coopin. I thought there were some positive signs from a few players.
Absolutely. I wanted to start here with Jaden Hardy, who led the Mavs in scoring with 21 points. 8 assists is the thing that I'm looking at. If he wants to take the next step on this team and be a real part of this thing going forward, he does have to improve his playmaking. So it looks like he's worked on that in the offseason, and obviously it is preseason, and they're not going full speed and whatnot, but the 8 assists is certainly promising. 6 of 10 from 3. We know Jaden Hardy can shoot the ball. He does clearly has a problem finishing around the rim, as he went 0 for 6 there, but I do think this was a promising night for Hardy and for his prospects.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of reserve hope/thought that 0 for 6 inside three-point range is a bit of an outlier. He's clearly skilled. I mean, he can get to the basket and score. We've seen him do that. But, yeah, I think what stands out here is the playmaking, is 8 assists, the ability to orchestrate the offense.
Yep.
And we talked about it yesterday. With Dante Exum out, there's opportunity for minutes to be had. And he looked the part yesterday. It's a preseason game. We've seen him light it up in low-leverage situations before. So not going to make too much of it, but definitely a good start for Jaden Hardy. How about Jaz Gortman, Coop? There is that final two-way spot open. He played a decent amount, 19 points, lit it up from 3, 4 for 7 here. Could be trending toward landing a two-way spot over the next week or two.
Look, I think with the Exum injury, and given he's going to be out for what I think is going to be extended time, they're going to need another point guard in here. Brandon Williams, by the way, is also hurt. He didn't play last night. So they're pretty thin there at point guard right now. And if I had to lean right now who's going to get that final spot, I would say it is going to be Jaz Gortman, simply because of the numbers at the moment. They're going to need him, and we know he can score the ball. He did that in the summer league as well. And the 4 steals, 4 of 7 from 3, he put on a nice little shooting display there. I liked what I saw from him, and I do think he has the inside track right now.
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean for AJ Lawson, who's fighting for a real roster spot, but could he get squeezed out entirely just based on personnel? Could they cut someone else off a two-way and put him on a two-way? They're going to have to figure all that out. But I think with Jaden Hardy, as we circle back to him, Coop, he's trying to make an impression and crack this rotation.
Yep.
I think on paper, with the roster fully healthy, you'd have him on the outside looking in terms of a consistent role. But with Exum being out and potentially missing extended time, opportunity is there. And look, it's one preseason game, but he was more effective than Spencer Dinwiddie in this game. So
he absolutely was.
I would expect Jason Kidd to lean more on Dinwiddie early in the year, but if he struggles and is inefficient like he was last year, there might be an opportunity for Hardy to have a bigger role than expected.
Look, we know Jason Kidd, especially early in the season, first 15 to 20 games, really likes to feel things out. If Exum is missing those games, I really believe there's an opening in this rotation for someone to kind of grab it by the horns. Whether it's Jaden Hardy, whether it's a guy like Jaz Gortman, who I don't think is going to end up playing himself into a rotation spot, but there is an opportunity here, and these guys do need to make the most of it in order to try to, stake their claim on this team. I really like what I saw from Hardy, and it's very promising. Yeah, Dinwiddie was a little inefficient last night. It's preseason. He's a vet, so I'm not concerned about him, but he is going to have to play well, and he's going to have to raise his levels if he wants to retain his spot in the rotation.
Yeah, and I think it's more so I don't really care about one preseason game.
No, me neither.
I'm more so saying, as awesome as he was here for the Mavericks, over the past 4 years, other than that about year of time,
the 76 games he played,
he's been a pretty inefficient player.
Yep.
So which Dinwiddie are you going to get? I think that's a fair question to ask. And so, he's going to have to be more productive once the real games get here. He's certainly going to get opportunities. Like, I don't think it's going to be one of those where, he has 2 clunkers to start the year, he's out of the rotation.
Exactly.
But I do think, 8-10 games go by. If he's struggling and Hardy's taking advantage of any minutes he gets, maybe the rotation shifts a little bit. Like you said, Jason Kidd, he feels it out and is willing to make changes kind of on the fly here.
It will not be a JaVale McGee situation where after game 2 you knew he wasn't the guy.
Still paying JaVale McGee. Shout out JaVale, man. Bag man. Who impressed you the most last night against the Grizzlies? We'll make this the pinned comment on today's show. Let us know who impressed you the most. Also, our month-long subscriber battle continues with Golden State Warriors today. Smitty and the boys have an early lead on us, 36-25. We cannot let that happen. We took Klay Thompson from them. Let's take more subscribers as well. If you want free Mavericks content on a daily basis, hit that sub button. All right, coming up, Dereck Lively. He also impressed in the preseason opener. Is this the year of D Live? We'll dive into that here in just a moment. But first, I do want to show some love to our sponsor, Prize Picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 by correcting one entry with Prize Picks. Let me explain. The way you do it is you sign up at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a $50 bonus once you play for just $5. Doesn't matter if you hit or miss. But there are certain entries with just 4 players that if you hit on more or less on the stat projections they give you, you could turn $10 into $1,000. It's that easy of an opportunity for you guys. Now you can, play for smaller money, etc., bigger money, 2 to 6 players. You can cross over sports, football, basketball, baseball. You can still get on some season-long stat projections with basketball. We got Luka, Steph, and Wemby all more than on their points projected totals for the year. Coop and I like that play. You got playoff baseball going on, so it's fun. And I know a lot of you guys out there play season-long fantasy sports. Well, if you suffer a couple of injuries early, your season's kind of cooked. The beauty of Prize Picks is you set new lineups every day. No big deal. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. The code CLNS gets you that $50 bonus once you play for $5. Take advantage today. Link is in the comments and in the description. All right, Coop, Dereck Lively. We've talked about him a lot this offseason. Yep. It felt like late last year he had already kind of broken out in terms of just game 1 to game whatever, but it feels like the next step could be here. And I think you really saw that, Coop, when he went coast to coast,
yes.
Shaq in the All-Star game style, and just took it the full distance and scored. He just looks more fluid, more skilled, and you saw that over the course of last year. Like, you saw the three-pointer in the playoffs. You're like, oh, okay, like, he can knock down a three. Like, this is a very skilled player who's improving very quickly.
He showed some impressive skills, man. I did not think he had the little point center bag in him, but it looks like he improved his ball handling in the offseason. Now, I'm not expecting Lively to show that a lot in the regular season unless Jason Kidd just puts full faith in him. We know he's been working on his three-point shot. He's been working on his post game. He's been working overall just to become a better player on the offensive end. And the more stuff he can do, it just makes the Mavs that more dangerous on that end, especially with the addition of Klay Thompson. And if Lively is more versatile, team's going to be pretty much impossible to stop, man. I'm really excited about him. Usually you talk about guys who have a sophomore slump in their second year. It's early. I don't see that happening for Lively. Now, the numbers last night aren't going to, jump off the page, but 12 points, 3 boards, a perfect 5 of 5, addition of 2 steals as well. I just love this guy, man, and I think he's going to be great.
He's just very talented. I mean, I think something that stood out to me right away last year as a rookie that I didn't really realize he was good at was he's an excellent passer.
Yes, he is.
Like, he's a very good passer. So, if he's a better ball handler, a better, at least a threat to be a shooter, like, you actually have to kind of account for him, like not just on lobs, but in other areas within the offense too. So that just opens up so many other things with Klay on board now too. Like, he's already going to open up the offense. But this guy, I don't want to say he's a superstar in the making, but I think he could be a legitimate all-star in this league.
He's a superstar for the Mavs.
Yeah.
That is no question. Now, something interesting last night was he actually came off the bench. They started Daniel Gafford instead of Lively. And Jason Kidd kind of went on to explain, and here's what he said. He said, Just wanted to see something different. We did this in Vegas, had Gafford with the first group. With so many people out, we wanted to see different guys playing with each other rotation-wise. I thought Gaff and Lively did a great job. I still think Lively is this team's opening night center, but I do think there will be nights where maybe Gafford starts and Lively comes off the bench, just given what Jason Kidd likes on that particular night.
Yeah, I mean, I think even in the playoffs we saw when Gafford was starting that Lively played more minutes on most nights, so I think that's going to be the case regardless.
It's more ceremonial than anything. Like, it doesn't matter who starts or who comes off the bench. They're going to play the same amount of minutes, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I would start him, but I don't think it's that, like, catastrophic
Agreed.
Either way. Like, I think both are going to get over 20 minutes a game. So, yeah, that was certainly an interesting nugget that he came off the bench, especially considering he told us at Mavs Media Day that he was in line to at least earn the starting job, but last night that was not the case. I would guess in the second preseason game they probably flip it. They'll probably kind of mix it up throughout the preseason and then make a decision for opening night. But again, I think with those two guys in particular, you kind of have 6 starters because they're going to split a lot of the time anyway.
Kid says that all the time, that they have 6 starters, 100%.
So, L for Lively, G for Gafford. Who do you guys think is the better player? I definitely think Lively's ascending more now. In a one-game situation, who would you trust more? That could be up for debate. I'd still probably take my chances on Lively. I'm just that high on him. But it's a luxury to have, Coop, because this team for years had garbage center play, and now you have 2 top 20 centers in the NBA.
From the days of Christian Wood and JaVale McGee and Dwight Powell to Dereck Lively and Daniel Gafford, we've come a long way here in such a short time.
I prayed for times like this.
Absolutely. We appreciate that. A couple news and notes before we get out of here. Kidd did say that Kyrie and Clay would likely play in the final 3 preseason games to ramp up to the 2024-25 opener on October 24th. So it sounds like those injuries that those guys had are nothing serious whatsoever, and they're going to be just fine.
The question is, will Luka get out there in a game? I think it's safe to say he's not going to play against the Bucks in 2 days, but maybe he travels to LA and plays a few minutes in that game, but we'll have to wait and see.
And just a quick note on the preseason as a whole. The NBA kind of does this a little differently, where these guys do play in the preseason. You're going to, I think in either the third or the final game, like, you will see the first team play into the third quarter, probably halfway through the third quarter. The NBA just likes to get their guys ramped up, whereas in the NFL, they just kind of go in first week and they're still a little rusty. So it is different. You saw last night, it could get scary where John Morant rolled his ankle and had to go back to the locker room.
Yeah,
he did end up coming back in the game and seemed fine, but they do play their starters in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I think one big difference there is in the NFL, you have this like 5-week training camp.
Yes.
And the coaches value that more. I mean, NBA training camp's a joke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're just hanging out in Vegas, let's be honest. So that I do think that plays a role. Like, hey, we'll get some of our reps in these games. But, yeah, they're going to play their guys. And, again, we'll see on Luka. Speaking of Luka, he was voted the top point guard in an NBA GM survey. That should be no surprise.
He was also voted the second best small forward in the NBA, despite the fact that he's never played small forward a day in his life in the league.
People don't know ball, man. People don't know ball. It's a sad world we live in. But, yeah, he's obviously a special talent, expecting big things this year. And, I actually missed this, Coop. Cynthia Marshall retiring at the end of the year. For those who either didn't know or forgot, she was Mark Cuban brought her in after the Turdima Ussery debacle several years ago, and she seemed to kind of stabilize the just culture on the business side of things. So she's going to call it quits. What's she been here, 5-6 years at this point?
She's been CEO since, I believe, 2018. So, yeah, about 6 years or so. She's retiring on December 31st. She announced that to the team this morning. Cynt's a very nice lady. She's did great things for the Mavs, so nothing but love, and congratulations on retirement to Cynt Marshall.
Kudos to her, and, I think that was – there's a lot of things to quibble with Cuban. I think bringing her in was a pretty good move.
That was a good move.
To kind of say, hey, I clearly have not done a good enough job here. Let's get someone else in here to stabilize things, and it appears that has been the case. So, all right, Coop, 2 days from now they will play again, and maybe you thinking next week for Clippers watch
Yeah,
party might
I'm
do that
aiming
game.
the Clippers a little West Coast game, a little stay up late action against the Clippers. So we'll probably do a watch party for that one. We'll confirm those plans later. If Luka's playing in that final preseason game against the Milwaukee Bucks, we might do that one as well. So we'll let you guys know for sure. But please stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up icon if you haven't already as well. Let's go Mavs. We'll see you guys soon.